Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Michael, KE4EST. Today I'm going to have a look at this Elenco model XP-620 power supply. Now these things come in kits, or you could buy them already tested and assembled and all that. This one I don't know if it came in a kit, but the problem with this one is this works, but the 5 volts don't work. So I'm going to try to troubleshoot this and figure this out. And I don't know how old particularly this one is. I know they've been out for a few years, and you can still buy some new. I don't know about this one here. I was looking just to see this is the 620, the 720. I know you can still buy on Amazon, eBay, brand new. And you can buy it in a kit form, put it together. I had one, it would say XP-620K. That would be a kit, but usually it'd be the manual. That's from everything I could find. I've seen some pictures of the user's manual. It usually still say XP-620 here. It wouldn't be any different on the front of the unit, but the booklet you get itself, the assembly manual and all that, would say XP-620K on the front of it. Okay, so this one puts out a positive and a negative 15 volts or thereabouts. You can see that. Change this light a little bit here, maybe. As you can see, it says right here positive 1.5 15 volts. Probably got an LM317 in it, because that's typical. You can go down to about, maybe a little bit lower, maybe 1.2, 1.3 volts. And they'll usually, depending on how they've got it set up inside, it may go a little higher than 15 volts, like 16 or 17. Same way as your negative side, probably 337, I think it is. LM337 negative rail. And then over here, it's got a 5 volt, 3 amp. Now these over here is 1 amp maximum. And that's another thing I tell you, it's probably like an LM317. This over here says it's 5 volts at 3 amps. So probably got a pass transistor and a 7805 or something. But like I said, this side works. This side, nothing's coming out of at all. So, and I've already removed the screws, so we're just going to take it apart here. Like I said, I don't know how old this particular one here is, so I'll probably still go ahead and change out the caps while I'm in here. Never hurts. I did notice when I took it apart. You can see that there. Let me just change this camera angle just a little bit here. You can see that rust. So, you know, just on one side. Then you open it up. We can see rust along the edges in there. See this side of it. So I don't know. Somebody's got their name scratched in it. I don't know if this thing got wet. I mean, obviously it did, but if it's been sitting wet or what happened there, if that's even a part of the problem. Because when you look inside here, everything looks pretty clean. And you get over to the circuit board side, of course, the top side, when you see the bottom side. And it's got these little plastic clips I have to unclip to get to the bottom side to see what's going on there. But we can start troubleshooting by looking right here, because this here would be your positive negative side here. This power supply's got two different windings, this one here. And I know this because there's 2 blue and a black here. So most likely this is like, you know, a higher voltage of some sort. Around 20 volts or something. Maybe a higher. And then you got a center tap here, so that would be able to break out and have a positive and negative rail. And this over here's just got 2 wires coming out of it. Look at the size of the diodes, they're a little fatter. So that way we can have, you know, a 3 amp side. So that'll tell you what's what there. Up here we got 2 filter caps, 2200 microfarad. So that's most likely going to be one side for, it's positive 15 and negative 15. I've built these power supplies before. I'm not an Elenco, but I've homebrewed them up with schematics you can find online or in magazines and stuff. And it's real typical. You'll have one of these, one of those, and set up your resistors and you can see in the back. Maybe hard to see on camera, but yeah, down at the bottom, which I know you probably can't see, there's a LM. Yep, I got it right. It's LM337T. I didn't know I couldn't think in my head if that was the exact number. And yeah, the other one's LM317T over here. And then here we got it 7805, and that there 2N6 something. I can't quite read it from there, but some kind of pass transistor. So, and at least the Elenco power supplies are usually really basic linear supplies, and no fancy bells and whistles usually. So this capacitor here would be off your 5-volt side. And then you got some little bitty capacitors through there. There's some basic bypass filtering and stuff, most likely. So we can start by troubleshooting this, but plug it in, turn it on, and right here and here we should get an AC voltage about 9 or 10 volts or so, maybe 12 volts. I'm not sure how they're doing it. Right here is what we should get on the meter. So I'll take in, I don't have it plugged in right at the moment. I'll just clip one there, and then I'm going to take it and plug it in. And I'll be plugged into the isolation transformer just in case. Turn it on. Turn it on here. And I'm going to have a look at the meter. Well, ain't that interesting. Nothing. Meter's showing nothing. Let me just turn this off. Now it's turning on and off right here. The actual AC coming in, so be careful not to touch any of that if you're working on one of these. And I highly recommend you unplug it. But with it being off, I know this side's completely dead, so what I'm going to do is, of course, if your switch is working properly, I'm just going to move this up here. As we know the other side's working, because I unplugged it in and checked that. Alright, now let's turn it on. Short there, let me just set it this way. Yeah. Got AC there. So, my switch could use a little. Okay, so that's interesting. Usually you just start right there. As one of these simple power supplies, you should have AC coming in. Check your diodes. And I can show you checking the diodes. You got the curve tracer here. I want to unplug it and shut it off. Right over there. And I check my diodes. 2 of them are going to show what a diode should look like. The other 2 in a bridge circuit's going to look like a double diode because of the way the circuit's wired. So I know that right offhand. Check that one. There's one of those. See, I'm talking about double. The other one should be double, and these 2 should be, yep, diode, diode. And that little, if you can see that line ain't perfect. Looks like 2 kind of lines there, because those diodes are still in circuit and have this that big capacitor there. But then you would go from there and you would check the output. I checked here and here for AC. Don't have AC, so there's something. Could be the transformer, which that kind of sucks if that's what the deal is. We can check. It could be. I don't think so. It's kind of fat right in here, but some of these transformers have a thermal protection thing in here that sometimes will just completely go out. If it gets too hot, it'll kick out and it'll kick back in after it cools off. Some just goes completely out, but we'll see. But here you should have AC going in. And right over here, you look at a rectifier, bridge rectifier circuit, you should have DC coming out here. And if nothing else in the circuit, it'll be your unfiltered. And you have your filter cap, and it goes on through the rest of the circuit. So you should have voltage here, and voltage on the positive side, which we have to get to on the bottom of your filter cap, and so on and so forth. But we started right here and don't have any voltage right away, so let me get this circuit board out. And like I said, all you have to do on these, reach in there and you squeeze this in here, like that. It's kind of hard to do this with holding it up like this. Well, see, now you can't see it. I can't see what I'm doing. But you would apply pressure and pull up here. Pull this up. Do the next clip, pull it up. Let's ease it up a little. Times you got all 4 clips and you can lift the circuit board out. And then you still got to be careful because you got all these wires. But let me do this real quick and we'll look underneath it and see what it looks like. We'll try to, maybe you can see that. I got my one finger under here. I'll reach down, I want to grab, take the needle nose and, let's see. Yeah, you can see that a little bit. Squeeze that together and lift up. See there? Alright, I've got them all loose, so now we can lift it up and look under here. Could have bad corrosion or something from that water. Be really careful. Oh my. Do you see what I see? I don't know how good the camera is going to show this, but I see what most likely the problem is. Let's see. Right here's where that comes in. Let me see if I can. The cameras, yeah, I think you can see that. Very cold solder joint. Looks like it's barely even just tack soldered there. That's cold solder joint. This solder joint looks cold. Look, this one up here. Oh, there you go. That one there. I got it zoomed too far in now. Here. There's really bad. So it looks like we got a case of really bad solder joints, or whatever kind of solder was used. Maybe it was, let me look at this. Yeah, from what I'm seeing, this was, well, if this was done at the factory, it was somebody new, and they did it by hand. It wasn't wave soldered or anything, or to a solder bath, but this was done by somebody. I don't know how they do it when you get the wired and tested ones. If they have somebody at the company do it, but they've got a lot of the traces too hot. Oh man, that's bad right there. That's so bad. That's the other side of that diode. Well, so I'm going to have to go through and resolder every one of these just so I know that I can trust them. And while I'm at it, I'll change out these capacitors just because as I don't know, this is some Samahu or something. This one here is a Sprague, this orange one, so it might be okay, but I don't know how many years this, how old this is. Of course, I don't know if Sprague saw much action. Did the 5-volt ever work? You know, may never have worked. I'll still change them all out. Go through and do that. And I get that done. I'll come back with the new caps in, everything resoldered, and we will try it then. Alright everybody, I'm back here, and I have went through, I've cleaned it up a little bit. I didn't clean any of that up yet, clean the front of it, but I went through, you can see from the top here, placed those two filter caps in the big filter cap. You see it's a Rubicon YK series. A little bit overkill, but hey, it'll be there for a long time. And, well, you know, while I was in there, I did that. And all these little bypass caps I've changed out. You know, like I said, not really necessary probably, and I even, like, here's the 2200s that came out of it, and they were, like, I don't know, some off-brand. But these here, these little 10, these are 10 microfarad. I can't even see. Let's see if I can see. See if I can see what that is. Yeah, Electricon. I ain't never heard of that one either. But I did test them all. These were okay, but they were getting there, which I thought was interesting. But of course, off-brand, because like I said, this ain't really old, like something from 1940s. But using them in something like this, especially a power supply, you never know how somebody's abused it, how much time's on it. This one here didn't test good. The one that came out, which was this one here, and it's a Sprague, but I don't know. So I changed that, changed those, changed the other caps out. But like I said, all these tested good. So I mean, you know, if you don't want to, you got one of these and want to do it, I highly recommend changing out these. But the rest of them, they're fine. They're probably okay. But we've seen how it was on before. Let's see. I'll bring it in here. Went and resorted every connection. And all them cold solder joints and loose solder joints is all gone now. You gotta be careful too with these. You know, I noticed these boards made really cheap. That's coming up there, so be real careful. Not any more heating's necessary, but make sure you get them redone. And we're gonna, I went ahead and grabbed the camera real quick after I got this done. Go ahead and just snap at least one of them back in there, because I want to make sure it's going to work. Back here, I'm not sure if I like the way that's done, but it'll work, especially something like this, low frequency, low voltage. In case you're wondering if you got one of these and it has been abused or something's went out and you're wondering, like this A70 here, 2SA70 transistor, if you go look, you're not going to find it anymore unless you find one new old stock or something. 2N3906 will be just fine, replace that. Of course, the capacitors, resistors, they still make. Diodes are still being made, manufactured. Voltage regulators, they still make. You still get plenty of those pretty cheap. Transistor, using for the pass transistor. This you can replace with a TIP 32A. would be just fine. It's almost identical. I looked that one up. It's almost identical, and they're pretty easy to come by, the TIP 32s. You might even get away with the, what is it, TIP 127? No, the 120 is NPN. This is PNP transistor. I think it's the 127. That's the Darlington pair. But don't quote me on that. I'd have to look at the spec sheet, but you might even get away with one of those. Definitely would want to look at spec sheets and cross-reference and stuff. But I just want to throw that out there if anybody's like, well, I've got one, but the transistor's bad, or whatever one where I should place it with. I watched this guy's video, and he said, well, I fixed some solder joints or whatever. But, I mean, it still may be bad, but I've not tested it. I'm just telling you what, if you needed to. But like I said, I grabbed the camera out real quick. I wanted to together, and we're going to check this out. All right, so let's look at this together. Like I said, I grabbed the camera out real quick so we could just kind of together see what happens here. Got this on the meter, and of course it's on the 15. Well, I've got it on the 15 volt scale, and so that would be here. So this black 5 here, right on there, should be 5 volts. You can see a little bit better there. So I've still got it on the current limited variac. Let's turn it on. See any smoke or anything fizzing and popping. Let's grab the test leads here. It's common, and I just about guarantee this is going to work. And there it is. Just a smidgen. 1 needle's width from being 5 volts. Which is about typical. I've checked a lot of these out. These 5 volt regulators, 7805 5 volt regulators. They'll be anywhere from 4.95 to 5.05, 5.1. But they'll usually, whatever it settles at, it'll hold pretty good. So, it was that simple to, this was a simple one. I was hoping it'd be something a little bit more complicated so we could troubleshoot a little bit. But, so let's look this up now while we still got that on that meter. I've got it on 15 volt scale. And let's start at the bottom here. I'm testing the variable 1.5 15 volts. And there's as low as it'll go, which is about 1.2 volts. I don't know how good you're seeing it on the camera, but that's a half a needle's width above 1.2 volts. And all the way up, it goes past 15 volts. Seems like it was like 17 something, almost 18 volts when I put it on a digital multimeter. Okay, and we'll check the negative. Alright, about the same. About the same, and it's working negative. So, that's still working good. Just remember, this thing's limited to 1 amp. You know, on your plus and minus 15 volts, but it's good for doing a lot of work with op amps and things like that, and testing and whatever. And then you got 3 amps maximum here, but I wouldn't want to put a 3 amp load on this thing and just leave it, you know, for hours. It'd probably get pretty warm, probably shorten life of that transistor real quick. Short burst or testing and stuff with a couple amps, you know, you should be fine. Just keep a check on your temperature of your heat sink. You could even take that out and probably in a 2N 2955. You'd have to bring the camera back down here, back off just a little bit. You'd have to come back in here somewhere, drill you a couple of holes, you know, and mount to this or a different type of heat sink or something if you wanted to make good and sure. Because those 2N 2955s, they're good for what, about 15 amps if it's got a really good heat sink with airflow and whatever. But they're a lot, you know, better than those if you wanted to Now, that ain't gonna mean you're gonna get 15 amps out of this at 5 volts, because you're still limited by your transformer. But if you wanted to make sure if the transistor, you started using it a lot and the transistor was going out or whatever. So, and yeah, these are probably as simple as they get. It's got a simple current limiting, you know, schematic here. I mean, they're pretty simple schematic. You can see on the 15-volt side here, we're coming in through it's got a fuse, you know, it goes to your primary side, and then we come off of here. So we got, coming off the secondary, we got 17 volts approximately, and we rectify it through a bridge rectifier. Of course, it's going to bring the voltage up, so it shows about 25 volts here. And it's got a filter. You got your LM317T with the basic circuit out. I mean, that's it. Comes down the other side, flips everything around to the LM337T, negative. You know, there's no, you don't get much simpler than that. And this one, the one in 5400s, we got 9 volts. This jumps to 12 volts, which goes through. Here's this coming off for the base. This 2 in 6124, which like I said, TIP 31A would be just fine. You got 5 volts out. You got a little current limiting here. I mean, that's about it. So this side's got current limiting. This has, you know, there is a little bit of current limiting built into these regulator chips, but this here gives you a little more because they're bumping up 3 amps. So not a whole lot of these, but for standard general use, doing some hobby testing or stuff, these are just fine. Where you can see it, there it is, the Elenco Precision. I don't know if I'd call it deluxe regulated, but they're still, you know, pretty good. I've seen these used for a long time and never give any problems, of course, as long as everything's soldered right and you don't overdo it or whatever. These can last for a long time. But if you abuse it or accidentally short something, really cause something to go crazy, very, very simple, as you've seen, to pull a part off, replace a part. You can replace every part in this thing, you know, not for a whole lot of money. And, you know, if you had to, and get it back going. So, but I hope this video's helped somebody out. You know, I told you about where transistors could be used. I showed that. You know, it's another thing. It's any of these things you get. You know, it don't have to be a power supply, but you get something. That's one thing to check for. Just go in, look at it, look at the circuit board over. You know how many times I have just give it just a once over with my eyes on something I'm repairing without putting any test equipment on it, not even a multimeter, just kind of looking it over, and start seeing cold solder joints. You start getting an eye for them and go, or you see something that's not even solder, you know, something that came as a kit for them. Where who knows, you know, you got it at Hamfest, you got it off an online auction site or something. Hey, it may not even work to start with from day one. Some of them I know there's just no way it could have worked, or it was wired wrong, or something like a Heath kit. And I've seen them where somebody's got the solder lug and they put the wire through it, and that's it, no solder. You know, they get these things, they're in a hurry to get their new thing going, and they poke the wires in and start soldering. You know, the guy's like, man, I want to get this thing going. And you have an intermittent connection, or sometimes they don't even work at all, and then they're not really versed in electronics very well, so they're like, oh man, I don't know why this thing don't work, I don't know what to do, and I don't want to send it back, and whatever, I'll just throw it on the shelf. And that's what happens a lot of times. So anyway, until the next video, this is Michael, KE4ES2 73.